All right, guys, welcome to today's live show. It's the beginning of the month, still great time to get the monthly expected moves by joining the Patreon down in the description. But there's something we got to talk about this morning. That's the fact that Jerome Powell does talk later this afternoon. We'll see what he's going to talk about. But something that I think that most people do not want to see happen are these yields going higher. And there is the opportunity for that. And this would be kind of crazy. I know we get a bunch of data this week and a lot of this can shift around, but I want you to pay attention. If these yields do cross up into positive territory here, that would be a sign that we're going to take out this high and potentially go make a new one. And that would be where you start to test some crazy levels that have really caused the market some trouble in the past. So very interesting why. I wonder if we have inflation scares coming in or something like that, but maybe with the tariffs. I just want to bring this to your attention, and we're going to keep an eye on this throughout the next few weeks and throughout this data. Another thing I wanted to notice was the dollar able to base out for a moment here. Are we going to see the dollar keep decreasing, or are we going to see that moment where the dollar increases and the SPY actually falls and that truth comes out? I think there's a good shot of that. Like I said, as the market keeps going higher, it makes me more worried that we're not going to get a corrective move before some kind of Santa rally. And that kind of leans me towards, are we even going to get a Santa rally? Because it seems like we're getting it right now. We see the SPY heading up to higher levels. Okay, good. My mic's on. That was close. We see the SPY heading up to higher levels, and this is kind of what we were talking about. Now, yesterday we didn't make it down to a daily expected move. Very lackluster day, but we do notice that extension happening now, so we'll watch out for any kind of resistance as the Qs are in a bad spot. The Qs are in a very, very bad spot. The timing of the Santa rally is important. That's why I'm saying we have to experience some kind of, I would even take a 2.5% pullback at this point, some kind of quick pullback just to buy you that room for the Santa rally. That's what I think needs to happen short Fridays. But it looks great for us to set a trap today. Okay, the Qs are in an area where this is a problem. We noticed Meta given some news with Zuckerberg and DJT, right, Donald Trump. And that's proven to be some good stuff. Probably some other stuff going on in there too. But I just want you to notice what it's doing. It's making the Qs in a very vulnerable spot. Now, the question is, crazy things happen here, right? Meta was at its limit, got some good news, and that energy was distributed to the upside. If that news was bad, that would have been distributed down. This is why you got to wait for confirmations of actual signals. Meta didn't really have any reversal signals at its weekly expected move, and then it got some good news and pushed it higher. Now we notice that the Qs might create a small signal, might get rid of that signal. If they get rid of it, this thing can keep running. But if we see resistance in the morning, this is going to be a very key resistance level for the morning, just so you know, because you're above the weekly, you're heading up towards a daily. That can be some serious resistance. But if you're able to break through that, you can probably see a bigger squeeze, and we might end up towards a monthly expected move soon. That's kind of crazy. If we end up to a monthly expected move early on in December, I will be buying volatility calls for the next 2 months very happily. Now, one thing to point out is volatility, because have those signals gone away, right? If this is some kind of great push and we're not going to see any volatility come in, then we shouldn't see signals on volatility. We shouldn't see a 30-minute divergence on the SPY today. Well, when we look over at volatility, you notice we're getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Something I'll do here is go like this. I'll kind of put it on the minutes there. You can see what these Bollinger Bands on the 30-minute are looking like at this point. All right, you can see what they're looking like. We get these moments where we get really, really tight down in these type of areas and pop off, right? We get really, really tight. Something bad could actually take place here. With the signals that we're seeing. What you're noticing here is, and we need bad news for that to happen. Remember, we like to say that on this channel, right? Pay attention to the signal. You can always take the signal and be confident in it because you know how to manage risk, you know how to manage your trade, but also know that this could all be distributed this way and end up down towards 12.12 really quickly. But are we holding the reversal signal? We're actually still confirmed on the reversal signal here for volatility to start going instead of this way, start going this way. We still have that, but the main signal has that confirmed. Well, the 4 hours trying to right now, just on negative bar. So if we see volatility come in here, that's where things can really take some people off guard. Just so you know, people saying, you know, a lot of puts in the market, and they're relatively, I would say that is relatively correct. But if we want to pull up the CPC, we can see there's a lot more, I would say, you know, since this point here. It seems like a lot deeper levels of calls being taken. We noticed this big blip here. We noticed that big blip there. So it seems people might be a little bit confused in which way this market's going, which means some good things, actually. It means if people are confused up, confused down, what if we make a move down dramatically, then make a move up dramatically, then make a move down dramatically? That would lean towards bear market, weirdly, at that point. So I'm down for that. I just think the main thing we want to be watching today is the Qs in this area. I think this is going to be very, very important for the Qs. We're outside of a weekly expected move. You know, that's why a big portion of this channel is dedicated to those weekly expected moves, right? We give them away for free for a reason. They're very important. And this is a resistance level. I'm just interested, and maybe you guys can give your thoughts. What the hell is Jerome Powell talking about today? Is he going to say something that shakes things up a little bit? Because I don't know if he wants those yields to head higher. I do not think that would put banks in the economy necessarily in a good spot. So I wonder what he's going to do about that. We'll see. What's he talking at today? That's kind of important. Whoa, what the heck happened with... What the heck is happening over on the AMC side of things? What the heck is going on with the options over at AMC and DJT? DJT makes sense, trying to make that upward move, but AMC, not as much. What the heck is going on? I mean, that doesn't even look like reversal yet. Huh. Interesting. Sorry, just some weird stuff going on over there. Nvidia making the upward move, right? Now we got to see, is it violating the divergence? It is. So this can continue, unless this starts to fade, but this can continue because this isn't necessarily making that weakness. We're still close enough to the center line if something bad happened, right? If the 2-hour rolls down, we notice what? Right by that center line. So today is going to be a big day for Nvidia. Can this thing start to even curl up on daily charts as well, right? We notice that's by the center line. It just needs like 1 or 2 days of positivity. Weird. Very interesting things happening. Qs, we can notice that early on, even though this is a great move up, we need to watch out for resistance in this area. I think it does have it looks really like it wants to keep going. It's crazy how low the VIX is. Well, the VIX can get all the way to 1212, right? Now it's below here and it's crossing back down. So now we're getting rid of those signals. Isn't that crazy? So right away, we mention it just to pay attention first thing in the morning, and we are getting rid of them. So very interesting. Now, still holding the points across this RSI, right? We just haven't found that steady base. But it is getting super tight. Is that going to distribute down? Look at that. Right now it's saying, hey, I want to distribute down. We got to watch what happens by end of day, though. That's going to be pretty important. If I see something interesting, I think I have time today. I might be able to come live later today. I got to look at my schedule. We like a low VIX, especially when we're looking for some topping signals. Now we just have to make sure we're seeing those topping signals, right? Because it can continue and that VIX can keep going to 1212. Oh yeah, so if you're trading, you know, if you're thinking of the VIX, you're going, wow, upside potential, right? You're going to low volatility. Good morning, Reese. Yeah, you're going low volatility, which means a bullish market for the most part. It just means you can slowly grind your way higher, and these little pullbacks can be close to nothing. TLT, for the most part, playing out, right? We notice the weakness, we get the weakness. Now, at this point, just note Jerome Powell talks later today. I'm going to look at what he will be talking about, and I want you to note that this can drop further if the 10-year can keep climbing here. Look at the daily scale. That is positive, and or it's in positive territory. And if that curls up, you're positive in positive territory. And that would mean, ooh, we're going to take out these levels and maybe go make a new one, which means TLT might drop off. That's why we're paying attention to the 30-minute signals in there. But right now, it just says 2-hour pullback. So what the heck's going to happen with this guy today? We'll find out. And we get data in, shoot, what data do we get today? I think it's PMI. Wednesday, PMI, ISM Services PMI come out today. It's supposed to come in, consensus 55.5, forecast 56.7, previous 56. And then Jerome Powell's supposed to talk at 12:45. I'm going to look at what that exactly is. So what's the date today? 12 what? 12/4. All right, so he'll be nothing too crazy, actually, just a moderated discussion at the New York Times Deal Book Summit in New York. Interesting. We'll see what's said there. Most likely more of the same, so that'll be interesting. But this is the guy I'd be watching. See if it's still holding on the 2-hour. Notice it is. See if it's still holding on the main signal. The main signal is the 4-hour. It still is. We're about to get rid of it, though. If we keep seeing bullishness. If we go to the top of this channel, you might have another pattern here, right? Another leg down, leg up to get above that monthly, because you wouldn't necessarily have the reversal signals anymore. SPY showing it. Q showing it. IWM showing it, but wanting to whip back around. This one actually confirming too. This one confirming at the end of yesterday, and now you're going, okay, is this going to rip back up on a 2-hour on me? Well, that would be a management of the trade, right? We see the 2-hour curl back up, we get one more push higher, and then we watch for this, but that has not confirmed yet. DIA, similar story, right? Can that 2-hour get one more push up, or are we going to confirm the 4-hour first? The DIA did not end up confirming that signal as of yesterday. So very interesting looks around the market right now. We got moves happening like Apple, crazy upward move, fantastic upward move, but giving divergences. Where is it? It's right where it should tap out. Amazon actually exceeding it, able to gap above some resistance here and turn to the upside. So very interesting there for Amazon. These are breakouts. As of right now, if they hold, they are breakouts. Tesla still getting a little bit beat up, but maybe retesting that 5. Maybe even Tesla sees some kind of move off of the 5 here with that 30-minute to cross up. And I'm surprised AMD. AMD looked like the one that had daily momentum behind it. Kind of surprised that one's not seeing that upside. Microsoft doing it too. My God, every single one of these are doing it. That is so wild. SoFi, I want to see if that makes the next move higher as well. Palantir saw a crazy upward move. Like just boom, right off of the 5, straight up towards a weekly. Very interesting there. And did the VIX 9-day hold? See, the VIX 9-day is holding better than VIX itself. VIX just dropping off. All right, so I think the most important thing to pay attention to are going to be, it's going to be the Qs. I think you might even have a count here. Let me look at my other charts real quick. Can I get this on there? No, I can't get it. One thing to notice here about the Qs as well, daily. Okay, I want you to notice this. I want to pull up the... What the heck? Why did that happen? Very weird that that turned off on me. I must have accidentally deleted it. What you'll notice here from this, the Bollinger Bands here, is we're testing top Bollinger. A lot of the time when you test top Bollinger, you want to revert maybe for a retest of the 20 before you can head higher. So we'll pay attention to that. We rejected the cross down, that's good. So you're not gonna go test bottom, but we're rejecting that up. Okay, we test the top. Do we revert back down to the 5 or the 20 before we see the next move higher? That would be, you know, Short Friday's coming in talking about potential for Santa rally. The healthier way to get the Santa rally, if we just get it like this, that's a little bit worrisome. So what you'd like to see is at least this type of move happen before you start to get that rally. It would just be healthier for the market. But hey, this market doesn't want to be healthy. It just wants to do some cocaine and go up. Never wants to come down. The dollar moving up, 10-year moving up, and the SPY moving up all at the same time. We're still stuck in that little bit of a lie right now. See how that PCC comes out. This is where you start to see people get bullish. So if we are going to, you know, continue to squeeze like this, this is where we'll see if people get overly bullish. Retail starts to really go to the bull side. What are you guys noticing out there? Yeah, Jerome speaking today. You see in JP Morgan. Let's look at JP Morgan. Oh, let's get these off. I don't like them on the shorter ones for the most part. Yeah, I remember the 2 hour here. What we were discussing, and that did cross. If that crosses the daily, is that going to cross today, or did that do it already? Yeah, so this is still leaning towards daily pullback. That could be a retest of your, it could just be a retest of your 20. Didn't make it to top Bollinger. We'll see if it retests the 20. Remember, there's no, like, there's a reversal signal technically on the RSI, so it makes sense if it wants to drop down lower. But the most likely thing is that might continue to the upside, actually. Is climbing the baby nameless. So this isn't the best look. What you want to find now are some basing out signals in some way. Do we see those forming? Potentially on the 30-minute, actually. This isn't the clearest divergence in the world. Notice it's very wonky. So is that going to really produce something good? Well, you'll see if it can take back the 5, if we can swing up on this 2 hour, right? Then you'd be a little more confident to test the high, go make a new one. And then I think we looked at Bank of America yesterday, showing a similar thing on the 2 hour daily, is able to rotate down. So you have a lot of banks just rotating down here. So I'm saying that those yields really popping off could be really bad for banks, which would in turn be bad for kind of everything. Very interesting. Trying to make some divergence here for Bank of America, not looking as good as JP Morgan. Definitely just a... We're still seeing those flushes. They're getting smaller. I mean, this is kind of what we were looking for. It's just it's not going to hold. It might not hold the divergence point, right? If it doesn't hold the divergence point, it's a little different. But we were talking. That's why I wanted this to dip down and go up, because that would have made the divergence point a little bit better. Now you just have this going on. And what you can do is we can go like this. We can go over here, pull up a 2 hour, see if it's there on the 2 hour, and you'll notice what? It's not there. So that means this can just keep going. Okay, you'll notice the SPY. Is it there? It might be there for the SPY. Yeah, SPY just rather flat across all this, if not a little bit up right now. So this could need some kind of consolidative move, but that could just be a retest of this breakout zone here. We could end up turning down, turning up. I haven't updated these levels, by the way, for the day. So the SPY's what we're kind of looking at here. I think I have those updated for the SPY and the Qs. That would be lame if I didn't. Let me go make sure I do. SPY, yep. Qs. Yep, okay, we're good. It's a great move. I'm glad we were paying attention down here. That told us the trend's going positive. Now it's just remaining positive. Alrighty, let's go look around for a sec. Crazy thing is, like, the housing sector keeps dropping off. XLU trying to get some kind of bounce, but XLU dropping off, housing sector dropping off, you got banks dropping off. ARE, let me look at that over here. Ooh, very controlled for KRE though. Maybe banks do actually catch a bid. If you really look at KRE and you pull up a 30-minute, you're just like, wow, is that pretty controlled down? Looks relatively controlled. Right, we're getting the flushes, but we keep getting these bridges, and now they're getting smaller and smaller. So now you're just pretty much looking like this. I've been sitting, waiting, wishing you believe. Oh, a lot of people shorting now. So, yeah, all right, whoever said squeeze, it definitely is possible now to keep squeezing if people keep trying to short. Oh, but you do have the dollar higher and the 10-year higher at the same time. But look at that. That's a lot of shorts coming in. I don't know if that's just retail. I don't think that would just be retail. Usually when you see retail get caught, it's like slowly gets there. That's just a huge, huge move up for puts. And just like that KRE trying to form that base right now. KRE looks like it might want to go for that next 2 hour push. Damn, I am interested in unemployment data on Friday now. It's a crazy, crazy good move. All right, so the areas where we're looking for stuff is here, right? If not here, and we're going to remain bullish for a longer period of time, then it's going to be here. We can pay attention to other stocks as well. I kind of want to go look for a couple of these. Nvidia's one. Ooh, Nvidia fading it. Look at Nvidia in like 11 minutes here. Trying to spread out to the upside. Were we able to get past 141 and hold above it for Nvidia? That's what I'm interested in. 141.12. We try to gap above it. That would be great to now use it as support to head higher, actually. See what happens with that going forward. Very interesting. Palantir not liking things now. Thing is, you only have that reversal signal like real tight on your RSI, not on the MACD, so that would be The time to look at the 2 hour, if that sees more negativity, then the 2 hours what I follow, but if not, then the 30-minute can just do this and curl right back up. We might have bought ourselves some more time to create more divergences to the upside. And look at the Q, still showing positive, so we might have bought some time here. Okay, and just for your information, I'm gonna announce it because you are nice. You showed up to the live video and you liked the live video just now, didn't you? Because I'm gonna tell you something good. Meta is now outside of its monthly expected move on December 4th. There is now a 68% chance that Meta closes at lower levels for the rest of the month from this point. I just want you to be aware of it. Let's go check across the board. I'm going to check across the board for you real quick just to make sure. Apple could tap out, Amazon seeing something crazy, Nvidia now starting to drop pretty hard below 141.12. AMD, another reaction to a weekly expected move for AMD. Meta, obviously we just discussed that. Microsoft just taking the F off right now. And that's that crazy level. Google seeing it. Not really at something crazy just yet. AMC and GME still doing the same thing as yesterday. Damn, but Palantir, that rejection is pretty intense right now. That's a pretty good rejection from a weekly expected move right now. Still think 30-minute needs the opportunity to create that signal here, but I'm watching the 2 hour if this just sees something ugly. Has a lot of room now. So the risk is you could end up down towards 62 now by the end of the week. We're seeing a lot of crazy moves. Gold still sitting in the middle. Mara actually catching a little bid there. SMCI not breaking down completely. Netflix setting up a point of divergence. So very interesting stuff happening. Ooh, this is what I'll keep my eye on. All right, so we saw volatility dropping dramatically, trying to violate some divergence, and then wicks up and starts going a little green here. Well, for the next bar, not green yet, still down 1.95%. Remember, as we are still in the positive trend and volatility is still coming down, and we haven't gotten any real bad news, the trend might just continue, right? But volatility might give us a hint if that 4 hour could really gain some steam today. It's a moment to pay attention. Alrighty then. Oh my goodness. Let's look at what's being talked about. Let's see, people talking about Palantir. Let's see what's going on with Palantir. Druckenmiller sells 95% of their Palantir stake. That might make sense of why that's suffering. A lot of people with Palantir paying attention to that 66 level. You're only at 69.50, so that's a ways off. People looking at this. Let's go look at this. Rivian. Excuse me. 30-minute divergence all across the way. Hold on a second. Wait a second here. Hold on. 1 second. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on a second. What do we see in here? That's interesting. Huh. Very interesting. Looks almost identical. A little bit more stretched out for AMC, but you are noticing it here for Rivian as well. Rivian just fell down first, shortly after AMC. Rivian starts to bounce. Anyway, I just was like, wow, that looks pretty good. What we're noticing here from Rivian is this most likely did curl down the 2 hour. If the 2 hour can confirm back up, hey, this could be some form of consolidation before you're able to break to the upside, or this could be some kind of first A, B, C move down, and then we need to pay attention when this 2 hours more by that center line. So there's two things to look at there. Looks like SPY might head to a daily expected move. I don't necessarily see the signals that would say, oh, this is like weakness in momentum. Now let's see what else people are talking about. People talking about this too, so I want to go look at it. Huh. Really clear there. What else? Oh gosh. No, nothing there. What are these coins doing? Like, what's Ripple doing today? Is it backing off? Don't even really have the 2 hour signal for it yet, so this is what we're kind of thinking for Ripple. Seeing if that 2 hour can get back down to the 5, then see a reaction up, then we see the 4 hour turn down, then we see the reaction up, then we see the daily start to turn down. I think it could last for a little bit of time. Amazon 2%. Hey, you know, we kept saying they have to see something crazy to keep it going. We're seeing something crazy to keep it going. Meanwhile, the volatility is still holding and holding some great divergence here. So why is this holding up really, really well if things are so good? Still forming that base. Very clear divergence here as well. I'm looking for the signals of a trap. You kind of have them in some areas, but you're kind of not having them in some areas. So you're kind of mixed as the Qs are in a very dangerous area. See if that can continue. Let's go. Continue, baby. But like, stop gapping up in the mornings and like doing these crazy moves in the mornings and then just staying flat all day. See if anyone's setting up the opportunity. I guess Tesla's the one that hasn't made the move higher yet. That one might be one that can get a little 30-minute push. Whoa. Nvidia, why are you just giving it up above that 141.12? That's what you really had to hold above. Now at this point when this posts, if this turns back down, you would be holding the divergence point for Nvidia on the MACD. You would be holding the divergence point on Nvidia for the RSI. It has to turn down though, has to cross down for it to confirm. This is your only inclination you have right now that this 2 hour can rotate down. So you do have some lower high signals if this can turn down on the 30-minute, and this is the first step to that happening. If we just rip back above 141.12, you're not going to see those signals anymore. If we get any kind of closing up here, you're probably going to see these signals start to evaporate. AMD with a serious rejection off of the key level. Two hours positive. Huh. All right, there you go. You have the point. Did we hold it on the RSI? Came above it on the RSI. So it wouldn't be the strongest reversal signal even if we turn down here. So that means I should be very open to this continuing, even though AMD is falling off a cliff after hitting its weekly expected move. It is now from touching the weekly expected move, you are down 1.6%. Ripped up, touch that weekly expected move, ripped down. And the housing sector is starting to fall pretty dramatically. That's a big move down. That's a big move down. Remember, you have weekly confirmations here for the housing sector. And that is not a good signal. Daily scale turned up, that turns down, not a good sign. We're still open to positivity, right? We're still open to positivity. If this thing can go like that, you would have a head and shoulders. But if it would turn down, break through these levels, it's a little bit of a different story. Could have an argument for triple top in some way. That curls down on this MACD, not a good sign. It is a daily chart, so it will take time for that to happen. If it happens all in one day, pretty crazy. That's a pretty good drop there, 1.33%. Rejection, 5, we lost it, test, reject, test, reject. You gotta take that back to see positivity. That would be our goal if we wanna see that right shoulder carve out. Just pop over the keys. Now we're gonna sit here all day, and then we're gonna see a move tomorrow morning. Maybe people are going to wait around for Jerome Powell. Pa. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay, DJT finally doing it. Remember, DJT yesterday did curl up on its MACD on the daily. The RSI is above the center line. The MACD has crossed on the daily scale. And the price action is above. Now it's above all of the moving averages. Bollinger Band's got a little tight in there, so we can see a decent move as long as we can hold above that 200 for DJT. If you guys want to see DJT real quick, this is what I was looking for. Just a simple swing trade to see if this thing can make a move. Now you're seeing the confirmation here. If we can hold above the 200, that would be a good sign. Target for this move, it could take, a whole month to play out, but about $55 there. But we do notice the 30-minute. We don't want that to rotate down. Oh. Surprise. MDT stock. Are you stock symbol? Oh, are you? Sorry. And you stock symbol. What time does Powell speak? I think it's about 2 hours before the close, so it says 12:45 Central Time, I think. I'll double check for you, and then we'll get to Short Fridays for a moment here. 12:45 Central. MDT. Let me go look at that. I like to look at stuff on the other chart. Let me leave the Qs up for here, and I'll just see what's going on with MDT. If there's anything interesting, we'll look at it. Daily. Okay, daily. Okay, you're trying to set up a higher low. Okay, so for MDT, your daily scale here, you don't necessarily have divergence. So if that crosses down, you're looking for divergence here. If it doesn't turn back around, there's nothing there, right? But this is a pretty good move. And now you're noticing the 2 hour kind of backing off from the sell zone. So very good. And we noticed that that was able to go positive. You're trying right now to set this up as consolidation to break through that zone. Okay, we marked this zone off when we last looked at it. Very, 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 very important zone. Gapped below it again. So what would you want to do before you break through it? Well, you'd want to pile up. If while you're piling up, you get a sell-off and the daily crosses, you might head lower. But if you're piling up like this and you're close to the center line and then that 2 hour can whip back around, it would be a good sign to try to take out that zone, come back in it for a retest and turn up. So I think what you're trying to do here is set up the lower or the higher low. That's what I think is going on here. Now, if we look into a 30-minute, am I going to get a hint of that? Not necessarily, and that thing's just going negative, right? You're seeing a little divergence on the RSI, but not necessarily on the MACD. If this is just going to be a quick turnaround, it's pretty controlled, then the 2 hour is going to confirm back up, and we might start to see this gain some ground. And I would expect this level here to be important. Maybe we see that reaction up, react back down, and we see something here. Some kind of consolidation in the zone might make sense, unless we see a big gap up. But need the 2 hour to cross up for that to be positive. And I'm going to switch back over to the Qs for a moment here, and I'm going to look at Unity Software, solid move out the gate. Can it continue? Hell yeah, it can. I mean, that is just like the Bollinger Bands got real tight on the shorter time frames for the 2 hour, right? The 30-minute, we're violating a lot of the divergences from the 30 minutes. So that would really lean me towards this is most likely going to continue unless it's just some kind of crazy rig trap. The 30-minute right here looks like it's almost just getting started for another one of these. Right? Reaction, we take back the 5, boom. We react down to the 5, boom. We hold sideways to the 5, boom. So that's what I'd mainly be looking at here. But we do notice the 2 hour, how that's just barely curled up. We do notice the 2 hour still holding this. So that's one thing just to be aware of. Right? I want to be aware of that. I want to be aware that the daily is getting to overbought territory and setting up a divergence there, but you're just not seeing, you're seeing the 30-minute just start to violate a lot of these divergences you had all across the way. And really what you ended up doing here was just a cup and then a super prolonged handle that ended up turning up into positive territory. So never really went negative. We piled up above the 5. That's why it's very important to lose that 5. So I think this could be the start of something new for Unity Software. I'm going to go use the restroom real quick. It's just I wanted you to be aware of the 2 hour signals if that randomly crashes down, because this could be a trap, but it looks more like an extension, and we're going to go into a new sequence. Qs, I'm going to leave you guys on this for a moment and go use the restroom real quick. Be right back. Baby girl's up there, just jamming out. She's jamming out. She's jamming out to some Spanish tunage. All right, sorry about that, guys. Obviously, I am back. Wanted to go check on. Whoa, we're getting some little moves here from some other stuff. TLT, TLT. Very, very good here. Okay, so TLT getting a reaction directly off of a weekly expected move downside. Very interesting. No reversal signals there, but it is just kind of booming off of that. Very good. Wow. The TLT is starting to catch some ground there. He is sitting in a vulnerable spot, but still taking out the divergences, so this could be a whole new sequence here. Two-hour, yeah, you're just screaming. You only have one real divergence left on one of my indicators, and that's it. So it's violating a lot of them. That is not enough for me to say there's some big rug pull coming, but that would be sneaky, sneaky if that happened. Doesn't seem like it will. Unless we start to confirm down on some bigger time frames, right? Bigger time frames. Then we can know, hey, yeah, that was a big trap. Where was the VIX? And I just want you to see, VIX is still, you know, that big push down was going to violate some stuff. Then we end up holding. You actually see how we're holding that instead. Big whip around. The key thing is when this goes positive really close to the center line. This is when we pay attention. This is the one signal we need to be watching if there is going to be a rug pull. That can go like that, but right now it's just looking like the trend is continuing the bullishness, so that could just be a reaction that fails. Remember that. If this is just going to keep continuing, you're just going to keep seeing it fail. Keep seeing it fail. So this is where management of risk, if you're trying to do this type of stuff, you got to manage risk the entire time. All right, there's the SPY starting to break. SPY breaking. Now, is the SPY holding the divergences? Yes. So we should mainly probably look at the SPY because the SPY is holding the divergence here. You're holding a divergence now here. I don't... Sorry. I don't really assume this will be some kind of massive crash, but we did end up keep heading higher. I still think we have time to correct quickly and then see that Santa rally. Some kind of 2.5% pullback, some kind of 5% pullback, and then we can go up into Christmas time, into the end of the year. But that is a drop off. That's not holding flat, is it? So now, volatility is liking that so far. Oh, baby girl's crying. We must have turned off the show. Why do we turn off the show? Bitcoin's still waiting, lurking. Like, do I want to go higher or do I want to pull back? Very flaggy right now. Very flaggy. I would be seriously watching the 2 hour for Netflix. Palantir now down 2.85%. Down about 3% from the weekly expected move for Palantir. 2 hour curls down, bad things. 30 minutes just curling down now. We could end up testing that 5 and going a little bit higher, actually. Bitcoin just now flipping to negative for a brief moment. Kind of a fight there between bulls and bears. And the VIX 9-day starting to get towards that 5-day moving average. Trying to curl up now on a 30-minute into positive territory. So we'll see if these things start to pick up, right? We can be patient. Nice and patient. I gotta charge my headphones. Hold on one sec, guys. There we go. Just gonna plug these in anyway. See if I can find this damn in my ears. There it is. Okay, we're taking them off. I'm too stupid. There we go. All right, we're back in action. All right, let's see what you guys are chatting about. What are you guys paying attention to out there? Tesla, 5-minute wedge. Let's go check on Tesla again real quick. Sorry, guys, just bouncing around a little bit on my other screen, making sure we're catching some things. For Tesla, you can really just see this 30-minute and see how, hey, great move up so far. Really saved yourself, didn't you, Tesla, from something bad. You curl back up, you come to a key level, you back off. Maybe we hit this 5, and then we can see another upward move. I think that would be interesting. Nvidia did react back up above 142. Okay, above 141.12. That's a pretty good sign for Nvidia. That means if we can hold above there for 10 minutes, it would look like we might be in a new little sequence here as we're violating the divergence. We can see some good things happen for Nvidia. Pay attention. This thing could still have some daily moves left in it. Maybe we go nuts. What else was that? Is that a pullback on pound daily affirmation fee for if I'm okay shorting MSTR? Yeah, we can go look at MSTR. As far as Palantir goes, you would consider it just a 30-minute pullback right now. If the 2 hour starts to crawl, a little different story, right? MSTR, first of all, this is great. It's been leaking down for a long time. That's awesome. You want these moving averages taken back. And Jacko, thank you so much for the $1.99. And by the way, Short Fridays, thank you so much for the $2. I hope that that info was a little bit helpful to you. Notice that the 2 hour has never confirmed up. But if the 2 hour does, how close are you to the center line? How close are you to the center line here? And how close are you to taking back all those moving averages? Well, one 2 hour bar can mean test these levels or go make a new one. Now, as you are negative, you want to always be open if this is just even a little negative like this. You know, if it's right on it, we're a little bit more lenient of it. And we like to say, yeah, test the high, go make a new one. When it's here, you have a chance of both. You kind of have a chance like, hey, test the high, go make a new one. You have a chance that that could form a lower high. So if we're looking for a lower high, even though we don't see divergence here, we still want to be open to it. We'll look into that 30-minute. If this 30-minute can see finally a good move and then back off, see another one, that's what we would look for the lower high. We want to see if they're slowing down in momentum. If you're going to see the 2 hour keep climbing, you're most likely not going to see that. Most likely not going to see that for MSTR. Now, this, if you're saying you're shorting, well, then this would be, hey, if the 2 hour does confirm up, I want to be careful with my shorts for the time being. It might cause a management of the trade. And if you just see this go like that and then turn back down, you just have another position there, and you're going to see this most likely start a bigger downturn. That's what it seems like to me at this point. Daily scale, we can pay attention to that. That has confirmed down, which is why we're also talking about lower high. All right, because if this daily turning down is just a blip, well, then this can just keep going and going and going. If this is going to be, hey, we need to see more downside, then it might do this and turn down, or it could just keep doing what it's doing, right? That 2 hour hasn't turned up. So really want to pay attention to these kind of looks first. And then if that 2 hour confirms up, we can go, okay, does that have weakness in it? If not, it can start going up, and then the daily might confirm back to the upside. So you see how much the 2 hour turning up makes it so like shorting is very dangerous. But it could say, hey, you're being smart, taking some profit or just managing risk at that point, and then you see it up here like this, and you go, okay, there's weakness in this overall move. Let me reapply that position. I've been you woke up, you bought a put, you've been diamond handing for no reason. Yeah, you're probably trying to use like a common sense standpoint of like, hey, the Qs are up in a dangerous area. Let me just buy a put here and then see what happens. That's why I really like to have my 5 reasons. Trust me, that's tempting all the time to just say, I know this is a 68% zone and we should end down in here. But I like to still go, what are the signals that I'm seeing right now? If I'm going to at least shorten this area, I at least want to see something, right? If I'm going to do a play, am I even seeing anything on a 5 minute? No, like you notice the 5 minute had to make this little divergence point, rejection divergence here, in order for us to pull back with time. So we don't see any of that right now. AKA, if this dropped, it would be black swan or just a complete trap at that point. It's like you read that. I know, it's because I show off the weekly expected moves and people do that. And it's something on this channel that we do not really condone. But if you understand management of position size and you're like, it makes sense, it can work for you a lot of the time. I would just say, remember, this is a weekly move, not a daily move. Right? So this could remain up here, 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 screw over your value, and then on Friday just do this. Right? And then that's all the profit you're going to get. So that's why I like reversal signals, and I'm just pointing out you're not even seeing 5 minute ones. So if this did rip down, it would definitely be a very manufactured trap, I think, at that point. Tesla, you just want to watch if that 30 minute curls up. Right now, not curling up. So 2 hour curls down. That's what we've been saying for a while here, right? We've been like, hey, the 2 hour is a bad signal. Hey, now the 2 hour is a worse signal. Hey, now the 30 minute could curl up. That's when this signal might go wrong. But if this curls down, now you're just at a pivot point, right? You're like, this is my bullish signal on the 30 minute. This is my bearish signal on the 2 hour. Which one happens first? All right, cool. Whichever one happens first, I can make a decision, and I know how to manage risk because I've taken the courses, I've done all those things. I know how to manage my risk in the position size. I know how to manage my risk throughout the trade, all right? So even if this 2 hour curled down and then the 30 minute immediately curled up, I might have to manage risk. And then once that 30 minute curls back down, I can say, okay, now that's the signal I'm looking for. But right now you're just in a spot of 30 minute curls up, good for the stock. 2 hour curls down, bad for the stock. And as the 30 minute does not have weakness in the near term here and not necessarily even across, I think it would be likely to do this, get people real bullish with the breakout. And then if this starts to turn down, crosses back down, then you would say, hey, it's really close to the center line. I think this is the good trade for this. I think this would be the good one. That would be the best one. If the 2 hour just confirms down, it's still a good one. It's just, I think that's the best one. And I can just be patient. If that doesn't set up, then I don't have to do anything and I risk nothing. Violated and trapped. Oh God, I forgot. Jackal doesn't like the word violated. Yeah, SMCI, we can go check on that guy for a second here. SMCI, again, another scenario of like, hey, are we going to get to that 5? Are we just going to see the 30 minute curl up? We do have flatness across, but I wouldn't necessarily say flatness is something that gets me overly excited to take something to the downside. We do notice a big move. Hey, solid drop here, very controlled, bigger, there's actually a little bit smaller, but still a big move. Then we see controlled, then we can make another move, and maybe that gets smaller. That would mean we're overall gonna get tighter, right? If we're gonna make a small move higher here, then we can get tight, and then I'd watch out for a little 30 minute divergence right here on your MACD, on your RSI. That's more significant than what we're getting recently. See the Bollinger Bands, we're starting to get tight again, so probably another little move comes here, and then we'll see what happens. I just had to re-add those real quick. So we'll see. Another one is still the 2 hour, right? The 2 hours trying to confirm this down. That would be a signal, right? So you're kind of looking for both. And now you know how to manage risk. If this goes like this and it confirms, and you go, okay, now this stock is going to pull back on the daily. Well, if that 30-minute turns up, that's kind of impossible. So you might want to be like, okay, let me manage risk for a second. Then that pops up, it does whatever it wants to do. If that curls back down, you go, okay, now that 2 hour is going to keep going down. Now that daily has a good chance to pull back, right? That's just managing the trade. Managing the trade, making sure I'm not getting beat up by anything, because there is always the chance that SMCI sees something crazy like it has recently, right? We've seen some good moves from this. Off of the 5, you're reacting to the 5. If that 2 hour crosses, I can take a chance. 30-minute crosses up. Uh-oh, that's bad for my trade. Let me get out. Then it goes up like this, and then you see, okay, now that's when I want to take my chance again. Yeah, very cool little moves here for SMCI. But this would lean towards, hey, the daily is going to cross down into negative territory if the 2 hour would cross. Volatility now down 2.25%. So we're probably, let me go check, we're probably getting rid of the, we haven't gotten fully rid of it yet. Is this just going to leak out and be boring until later today? We're going to test a daily expected move and see what happens. SPY and the keys both getting to daily expected moves very soon, it seems. And it looks like our buddy BJT is starting to see a good move here. Justin says coffee money for answering my questions for free. Hey, I appreciate that, Justin. Just trying to be helpful, but you guys know I always appreciate a little kickback for some coffee. I actually might go grab some. That sounds kind of good. No. I'm going to stay with you guys. I got a limited time today, so I'm going to stay with you guys. I'm not going to go waste my time for a couple of minutes going to get a coffee. I can get that right after. But thank you so much for that, Justin. It means a lot. 250 in the chat for Justin. Is that your first one? Celebrate the first super on the live stream. Let's go. Thank you. Appreciate it. Like I said, guys, if I just know, I'm just trying to look at what I can in the chat. Just trying to make sure that I'm focusing on what's going on in the market while also tapping in and trying to point some stuff out. And I do notice Scott asking about IWM. We haven't really looked too much at IWM, so I think we should go look at that. And you see it's very, very controlled. So does IWM have a good shot of going higher? Well, if it can take back the 5, right? And we never really had 30-minute divergence in this, right? In the near price action. We do have 2 hour that has confirmed, which is why like the daily has a very good shot of crossing. The daily crosses, bad things for IWM. But if the 2 hour can cross back up, what do you think? Good things for IWM in the shorter term. So that could mean we bought ourselves some time. Watch out if there's some kind of downward move up towards the weekly expected move. So you're looking for two things right now, and they haven't even produced yet. Right? On one side, you have, is the 2 hour going to confirm up, and am I going to see a higher move? Can I make a daily expected move maybe for IWM? And then the other one would be, or is the daily just going to cross down and we're going to see negativity as the 4 hour has already done it, right? So the daily, obviously that is a better confirmation. You do have divergence right here, and that's a big deal. And then you would start to say, are we going to start to do that kind of across the board, right? Are we going to cross down? Are we going to cross down? Rather flat for the SPY and the Qs. DIA, rather flat, little bit down here for DIA. So now you're looking across the board, and it's not on the MACD at the same time, so that could be just a pullback. But you're going IWM, the obvious signal here is daily turns down, bad. But if the 2 hour turns up, good, and I can react to either one if I want to. Or I could be patient, see if this sets up a position for that daily to turn down, and then see something like that. Right? I don't have to play every upside move for a 2 hour chart, you know what I mean? Alrighty, I still think I like the SPY too, because that's going to react with volatility, the VIX. I just want to keep checking on the VIX, make sure it's holding those points. Go check, double check on that real quick. And it is still holding the points as of now. but it is very close to not holding them, which means we might squeeze to 12.12. That would be crazy. I'm going to hold my standpoint here. I'm just going to stand on my hill and say, if we want to see a legit Santa rally, I think we need to see some kind of corrective move. And I'm still starting to think if we keep heading higher for another week or so, that's going to be potentially a disaster if it lasts the whole month into January of 2025. Most likely we see some profit taking at the end of the year at least. There you go. We are, look at that. We get the gap up. You know, everyone talking yesterday, they're annoyed because we see rapid move and then we just hold flat. Well, you're getting another gap up and you're holding flat. Oh my goodness. Rapid move in the morning. All right, hold flat. So we'll see what happens with that. Not at a daily expected move yet for the SPY. We are at a daily expected move for the Q. So let's watch this reaction. Let's just see what happens here. Are we just going to keep seeing something crazy? That is pretty much the top of your resistance zone right there. VIX, HGX. It's just crazy because look at the housing sector. Still dropping off, down 2% now. Getting rid of any kind of basing out down here. We can get reactions to the 5, but that's kind of wild. Dollar just flipped to negative. And let's wait for a setup. Sometimes I gotta tell myself that out loud, you know what I mean? TLT, great reaction from that weekly expected move. Very, very cool. Apple, I'm a little worried about you, bud. Amazon actually got rid of the signals, so not really worried too much about that one just yet. Unless it's just a massive trap. You're almost to a monthly expected move for Amazon. That's wild. And Nvidia did post above 141.12, which gives you the confirmation of we could be in a whole new thing. We could really be in a whole new thing now. Still very overbought, but if we can hold above 141.12, we'd be pretty happy with it. And actually, this level might be important too, 140.28, which is in this area. Probably should have made a zone for this. Go, Nvidia, go, go, go. I guess 144 would be the ultimate target here for this week. What is going on with you? You. Crazy Meta sees the crazy positivity from that. Okay, Meta is seeing some wicks above a monthly expected move. A 30-minute pullback is likely. No big reversal signals for Meta. But this is a rapid upward move. We can now use a weekly as some form of support. If we want to go retest something, a 30-minute move down to here to reconnect with that 5 coming up would be good. And then see another upside move. Meta, we will be talking about if it makes a reversal signal above there, though. So that's a big move. The options market did not see that coming, so profit taking here would make a lot of sense. good move though. Crazy, crazy things. All right, Qs, let's see how you react from here. I would expect resistance for Meta in this area for sure. If not, then that is just insane. Who's texting me? Oh, god dang it, freaking. Accidentally just sent like a bunch of emojis to one of my bros. He's probably like, what the hell's going on? Okay, so if the keys are going to violate this, what can we pay attention to? Anytime the SPY is going to touch its daily expected move for the day. This is squeeze and a half, so I'm guessing, yeah, people still trying to short, so yeah, Meta's starting to get that resistance to come in right where it should. There you go. So we had some green bars for Meta, very likely to see a 30-minute pullback here, or at least some kind of consolidation up in these levels. But right when, you know, this bar completed, I'm like, yeah, that's seeing some wicks now. That's very unexpected. This is where it should back off. No real big reversal signals here for Meta. I'm going to check a daily. I guess that's what you'd watch. If the daily rotates back down, bad. But right now, the 30-minute doesn't even show weakness, so this easily can continue, and then we look out for a signal up in here. As far as where this thing could pivot and start heading down. But some simple swing trades go a long way, right? I probably would have sold at a weekly expected move. Yeah, that's a lot of positivity. So all right, Q's, what are you doing, homie? What are you doing? If Meta can remain just sideways, that would be super bullish. If it can pull back on the 30-minute but just remain sideways, that would be awesome. DJT has a slight 30-minute divergence there, saying the 2-hour could pull back in this area. But not confirmed. AMD building and building and building right at resistance. Oh my gosh, we're about to see AMD go nuts now too. We got Microsoft, Google. Microsoft's still holding the divergence point actually. Then Palantir able to try to turn back up so far. Not a full test of the 5. I'd really like a test of the 5 first. Oh gosh. I'm gonna keep checking the news. Things look very weird from the fact that volatility is just holding it is very strange. Now you can hold it for a long time. Obviously we already have, but just interesting. Let's see here. Port. Let me check this news source. Yeah, that martial law thing was pretty crazy, wasn't it? Crazy there. It's like, I guess it's mixed. Gonna be mixed for the day. Probably till Jerome Powell talks. And he's not even gonna probably say anything that I feel like would be overly dramatic at that. All right, what are you guys thinking? Boeing confirmed a weekly divergence. We gotta check on that. Now you could see another 30-minute move up, but the 2-hour not necessarily confirmed for downside. So I'm guessing that weekly divergence is to the upside. Okay, so that's to the upside. It is not the best. It's not on your RSI at the same time, but it is something to pay attention to because weeklies can see really good moves. So that tells me if the 30-minute can pop up here, we actually have a good shot of seeing a decent move. The daily looks like you're trying to break through. Okay, so for this one, what I'd be looking for now would be that 30-minute reaction off of the 5. That'd be your first inclination. The weekly divergence is a good one. It's just not on the RSI at the same time. And I want you to notice how we're hitting these key levels. So if we go make that 30-minute divergence, then the 2-hour might pull back a little bit deeper. And then this would be a nice little thing to happen here. Some kind of liquidity, some kind of building up before we break through these levels would be a good thing for Boeing. But if we're really just thinking of this, you know, long term, we'd go, hey, monthly, hey, can that cross up? Well, it has weekly divergence right here. So this would be the timing where you can see something good, right? So good pointing it out. You see the weekly on the MACD, right? Very obvious on the MACD, but just blowing up the RSI. It's not there on the RSI. It's still pointing down. So that could mean, hey, maybe that just means we need to see a move, curl back down, then see another one, right? It still can be a base. It's just not like a perfect base, in my opinion. Still can be a good move. Good paying attention. I like it. What the heck? What would be the catalyst for if something bad happened? Because this is just... if you get no catalyst, this is extremely bullish behavior. Like VIX heading towards 1212 behavior. And that 2-hour for volatility just does not want to cross. That 2-hour crosses, I think you gotta end up to 1212. And then you're just making divergences later. Maybe you do start that squeeze again. More squeezing, more squeezing, more squeezing. Yeah, that's true, Chris. Could be. Snowflake? Courtney wants to check out snow. Let's go check out snow. Because Courtney said please. We like people that say please. Snow, very, very good here for us to see. Hey, what? We see a great move. What do? We pull back with time, right? And we get on that 5-day for the test. We curl up on the 30-minute. That's great. Looking for the 2-hour to curl up. Maybe even an hourly here actually would look good, right? An hourly might look good here. And then you're going, okay, what's next? Well, you gotta watch out for traps now. That's why we're looking at the grand scheme of things and saying, hey, that 2-hour could curl up. That could be good. Okay, this could squeeze, but this could also be a trap. So this is where these type of plays get a little risky. But the first reaction was a good one. Is the second actually, the first reaction was a good one. The second reaction was a great one. What's the third reaction gonna be? Right? We notice every time it looks like for the last 2 times we're getting these gap ups for this 2-hour, which is very unfortunate. You'd like that to slowly build. and then break through. Technically, you're just getting the breakthrough now, but you're already overbought. So I'd really like to see more of a daily pullback to make a decision. If we can revert back, and look at that, like we'll do this too. You just pull these up. So you can get a reaction still to top Bollinger, have that divergence set, turn all the way back down for a retest of the 20, right? We want to kind of see when that 20 is coming up. I'm more just looking for an opportunity for this to be better to the upside. Because if you just take Bollinger Bands into consideration here, you would say, well, my reward might be this, unless it just keeps going. But technically, you would say the reward is here, the risk is all the way down here. So I want to make sure the next play I get is a good one. But this is where it goes again. You know, swing trading on the daily is a cool thing. Swing trade on the daily. You never confirm back below the 9. You see good things. You come here. You never react below the 9. At this point, though, if I was in this swing trade, I would probably be taking a little profit off the table there. At least a little bit. Let the rest ride. Squeeze before NFP. It could be. I still think the most important piece of data is Friday. Yeah, I think both of those are the most important. So you're right to point it out. I think unemployment's a big deal. Unemployment most likely becomes a bigger deal in 2025 with the potential for deportations. Oh, dang it. Unplugged my charger. No, and I dropped my water. No. There we go. I'm just over here punching waters and unplugging my chargers. Nice. But this is the danger zone. This is where things get a little eerie. And if the thing is, people are still shorting in these areas. So what happens if you try to short a short squeeze? Well, the squeeze, you squeeze those shorts even more. Head and shoulders on the daily. Yeah, that's what we're really paying attention to, Dave, for Nvidia. But I just want to see if that is very likely. And at this point, you violated the divergences. So is that lower high going to come in here? Or is that lower high going to come in a little bit higher? And the fact of the matter is, it can come in a little bit higher now because you've violated those divergence points, meaning this could leak out for a few more days. Then we'll see. But yeah, if the daily turns up, you're actually very likely to see a test of the highs go make a new one. But if the 2-hour turns down, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the weakness from the 2-hour. So anytime that 2-hour turns down, you can start to break these levels. As long as that's not dramatically positive, right? If we start to get up towards like, you know, a reading of 1 or something like that, you'd go, okay, it's a little less likely. Why is corporate executive stock selling at all-time highs? Because the market is going to the moon, Alice. And that's true too. You're seeing high levels of insider selling. I want to see if I can, maybe I could pull up that graph. Maybe I can go find it real quick. Give me a second. I'll go try to find it. They have a graph for me. No, that is a terrible one to look at. Let's see, 2, 1. I don't think that's a graph. God, I need to start screenshotting freaking graphs I look at. I do so much research and then I just like forget to show you guys. See, maybe this one's good enough. Yeah, this one might be good enough. Let's make this a little bit tighter maybe. Okay, good. So this is from my Max Pain charts as well, but this is the same site. Just wanted to show the sales potentially, right? Daily purchase sale filings for officers or directors. We can pull that across and see that there are way more sales taking place than purchases. 295 versus 45. So you're seeing a lot more sales take place than you are seeing buy orders, pretty much. You know, like right now. Oh, volatility actually making a move here. SPY not even dropping that much. Volatility trying to bounce back a little bit. We got to see if that's a good move, though. We got to see. We'll wait a little bit to see if that's going to produce something. I'll see if I can carve out some time to go live later on in the day. But the SPY is still holding its divergence. The Qs aren't. So are the Qs just a massive trap? Because the SPY is still holding it. IWM hasn't made the move higher. DIA hasn't made the move higher. So we'll see. I think maybe by end of day, by after Jerome Powell, we can really see. So I'll see if I can donate some time to come back live later today. But for now, I do have to hop off. I have some other things to get to. I do appreciate you guys being here. I just want to make sure to focus on looking at the market for today. When things are a little bit, when things start to play out, things look a little bit more clear, we can really bounce around and look at a ton of stocks. But 4 times like now, you really just want to be paying attention to what these moves are, and then you can bop around and look at some other things. But I think it's important to watch volatility, the SPY, the Qs hitting a critical level. I would keep a very close eye on volatility, as now we are seeing this little blip on the histogram here starting to go green a little bit. So that just means what? Well, let's see if that really kicks in and goes positive. If we start to curl up a 2-hour, that actually looks like, hey, a good move. And then ultimately, can we curl up a 4-hour and actually curl that up with a positive bar? You notice we are curled up. We are still below this 9 coming down. So a good inclination of this would be if the SPY did it in the other direction. You see a green bar like that, and then you see SPY confirm down like that, right? Confirm down like this. That would be a good inclination of that, just so you are aware. But I would not see a tiny 30-minute blip and then be like, oh yeah, let me throw all my money behind calls on volatility, right? Scaling into the position at this point. Scaling in is what I'm overall thinking. So thank you guys for joining today. I really do appreciate it. I will try to carve out some time later. If I can't, I will be back on YouTube later tonight to get you guys daily expected moves for tomorrow and talk about what happened throughout the day. Hopefully I can come back later this afternoon, but thank you guys. Have a great day. Trade like water, right? Manage your risk and you'll be just fine. Talk to you guys later. Peace out.